Hi, this is Gil Cargill. In the next 10 or 15 minutes, I'm going to share some ideas with you about prospecting. The title of our presentation is Prospect and Prosper. And the other side of that is, if you don't, you won't. Let's make it clear that I believe somebody's buying something from someone somewhere. But old school prospecting really isn't selling, it's searching for that someone that wants to buy your product or service. And once you understand that it's searching and you can't search and sell at the same time, you'll understand how our approach to prospecting is unique and much more productive. You see, the number one reason, according to multiple studies, for sales failure is we're not there when the prospects want to buy or change. Now, we may have had a conversation with them 6 months ago, but they've forgotten about you and they're buying from your competitor. Or they may not know that you exist at all, and they're just going into Google, searching for someone that sells the product or service that they need, and they're buying from your competitor. In other words, money's flying out the window because you're not involved with them when they want to buy. One of the rules that I want to impress on you is the 3X formula. You see, I think you need to have 3 times your annual new account goal in your funnel at all times. So if your company or if you want to have 100 new transactions this year, you must maintain a funnel at a level of 300 transactions. Now, I'm going to emphasize maintain 300 transactions at all times. You see, one of the mistakes that I've observed is we fill our funnel, we drain it. We fill our funnel, we drain it. And that makes our revenue come and go and create a graph that looks like the Himalaya mountains. If you have the discipline to maintain your funnel at 3x your goal, you'll never have that phenomenon. One of the ways to do that is to conduct a marketing count. Now, this is an exercise that you can do, you should do, with a list broker. I don't care what list broker you work with, but have them create a count. Now, a count is their term for giving you a number that reflects the number of demographically desirable suspects that exist in your market at all times. If you don't know that number, you really can't optimize your prospecting or your outreach program. Give the list broker the demographic definitions of the people you want to sell to. Number of employees, SIC code, zip code, location, age of the business, whatever it may be. And that will create a sweet spot in your market, and that's the list that you should attack with the strategies and tactics that I'm going to talk about. Now, one of my client salesmen once told me that he didn't need to prospect because he knew everybody in the market. I responded by saying, it's not how many people you know that's important. What's important is the number of people that know you. And if you aren't known by everybody, you must engage in an outreach program to create and maintain relationships. Now, I define a business-to-business relationship, one in which the prospect will think of you when they need to buy a product or service like that which you sell. A business-to-business relationship is one where you maintain top-of-mind awareness by touching that prospect at least 6.7 times per year. If you don't do that, then you're allowing that prospect to forget about you. And as they forget about you, regardless of how great an initial impression you made, they will tend to buy from whoever pops up in their next Google search, leaving your success up to the hands of fate or luck, neither of which is good. So let me ask you, how many relationships do you currently maintain using my definition of at least 6.7 touches per year? And how many relationships should you maintain? If you don't know the answer to either of those questions, then I would argue that your prospecting or your outreach program is not optimized, and you need to answer the questions on your screen. What would happen to your revenue, profit, or commissions if you competed more often? Competed more often with accounts that needed the results that you produce. And you do that by obtaining and maintaining more demographically desirable relationships. Now, when you first contact a prospect, the very first thing that's going to go through their head is, what's in it for me? Now, the mistake that I see is a lot of us call prospects and say, do you want to buy our product? Or we may do that in a Zoom meeting or face-to-face. But you see, the prospects aren't ready to buy a product or a service. They're not ready to change. What you have to do is get them to change in small, digestible, if you will, increments, and we do that by selling an appointment. What's in it for me to meet with you to invest 20 or 30 minutes of my life to listen to your story? If you can't give me the benefit of an appointment, then all you can do is call and hope. And a good exercise is for you to practice selling appointments. What's in it for me to give you an investment of my life, 20 minutes or so, to meet with you? If you can't answer that, we've got an underperforming prospecting program. Now, another problem with traditional prospecting, and I see this in thousands of accounts, is that salespeople are asked to do their own prospecting. The tragic is we can't prospect while we're selling, and we can't sell while we're prospecting. So that conundrum conflicts with the reality. Add to that the reality that many managers have asked salespeople to undertake too many non-sales tasks. Take a look at this slide that's on the screen. That yellow slice of the pie represents 34% of the business day that the average business-to-business salesperson spends doing non-sales administrative work. That reduces their potential for generating revenue by 34%. That causes companies to have all kinds of profit impact that is negative. What would happen if we turn the yellow slice of that pie blue, either dark blue or light blue, and the salespeople could spend more time with prospects and customers? You can't do that unless you change your prospecting process. The process that we utilize is pretty simple. First meetings indicates the number of phone conversations, Zoom meetings, face-to-face meetings that you have with a demographically desirable decision maker or influencer. Multiply that by the close ratio that you've established. I don't care what it is, but let's do that math. And that equals your sales volume. So in essence, the more first meetings you have, the more revenue you will generate regardless of your close ratio. That's just logical. Now, first meetings is a function of how many people you touch, how often you touch them, and how well you are communicating the value to them of meeting with you. If I don't see any value in meeting with you, I'll put you off perpetually. If, on the other hand, you impress me with the fact that an investment of my time will help me resolve one or more of my business's operating condition challenges, you better believe you and I are going to be meeting pretty soon. Now let's face facts. Trust is the foundation of all new business relationships. If I don't trust you, I'm not going to buy from you. It's that simple, gang. What we have to do is also recognize that old school prospecting does not allow us to build trust. You can't build trust with one phone call or one email or one drop-by visit. Trust is built over time. So we like to use prospecting strategies and tactics to obtain top-of-mind awareness and then maintain top-of-mind awareness over time, during which we're building trust. Now, that can be controlled. We can't control the other part of this magical intersection, which is timing. Regardless of what you sell, if they just bought from your competitor last week, they probably aren't going to throw the competitor out and put you in. So timing is pretty much hard for us to control. Conversely, trust can be created and maintained perpetually. Our goal is to create trust and maintain it until such time as the prospects recognize the need to change. If you've maintained trust and if you're maintaining top-of-mind awareness, when they recognize the need to change, they'll give you a call. And that's, at the end of the day, what all of us really want, isn't it? The facts are that 97% of the people in any given market are what we refer to as future buyers. 3% are current buyers. We have to have a system to obtain top-of-mind awareness with those 3%, but maintain it with the 97%. If you don't, 97% of the investment you make to obtain top-of-mind awareness, to get a phone call or a Zoom meeting, is wasted. So in a moment or two, I'm going to share the concept of closed-loop marketing, which nurtures those relationships that are not yet ready to buy. I'm also going to walk you through a laundry list of tactics and strategies. You see, there's a myriad of ways for you to obtain top-of-mind awareness. That's getting into the prospect's head and getting the prospects to appreciate the value of meeting with you. First of those is anonymous visitor tracking. These are tools that let you know who was at your website yesterday. Auto dialers allow you to make a lot of calls very quickly and optimize your effectiveness as well as your efficiency. CRM systems are without a doubt the best way to stay organized as you try to process hundreds or hopefully thousands of qualified leads and prospects. Email sequences are a great way to introduce yourself to the prospect, and I'm going to give you 2 of my sequences in exchange for you visiting my website and requesting them to be downloaded. SEO is tried and true. Pay-per-click is also tried and true. Autoresponders are the technologies that will thank a prospect for visiting your website, even if they visited your website at 3 in the morning. You should make sure you have autoresponders set up so that your customers can understand that they have been acknowledged. That's very important. And there's the old school, but gosh, this is so impactful, called referral marketing. I don't know why, but there are many, many salespeople that I've personally trained that say referral marketing is a great idea. And then I check back, and they haven't gotten round to doing it yet. You see, it's that round here syndrome, or round to it, that keeps us from achieving the goals we want. If you ask every one of your customers, every contact that you have for a referral every 4 months, you'll have a pipeline that's more than full at all times. Your other tools and strategies are networking, public speaking, going to trade shows, and here's something that's so new it's old, or so old it's new. It's the direct mail strategies. A recent study published showed that a numbered 10 envelope with a printed letter inside is 38% more effective as an introductory vehicle than a email out of the blue. So you can use both to obtain and maintain top-of-mind awareness. Webinars are a great tool for talking to a lot of people at one time, but make sure when you run a webinar, you're educating the audience. Don't pitch them. Nothing makes an audience more turned off than going to a webinar to get some valuable information. The titles always refer to how to do this or how to do that or how to achieve some desirable goal. But then the sales presenters just start giving a pitch about their product. That turns the audience off, and candidly, it's a waste of your time and your money. Account expansion and automated funnels are other strategies that you can work with. Now, in this short presentation, I obviously don't have enough time to go into detail about each of these, but I'll be happy to take a phone call from you and do a deep dive on which ones might be most appropriate for your company. Now, my most successful campaign to date is called the Approach Campaign. And this is a combination of 8 emails that go out over 5 days. Now, we try to focus on finding the appropriate person to talk to as opposed to selling our product or service. These emails refer to the appropriate person, and when we get an introduction to that person, we are then engaged in a sales campaign. More often than not, remember 97% are future buyers, we will place that contact into what I refer to as a nurture or a closed loop marketing campaign, where they'll get a message from us every month, and that sequence of messages prevents them from forgetting about us. Believe it or not, Harvard published a study years ago that showed if you do nothing more impactful than share your logo with a prospect, you will refresh their memory and keep them at a level where when they're ready to buy, remember the timing at the intersection, they will contact you. You have to also never ignore your old leads. I'm amazed at how many dollars worth of leads are in the wastebaskets of companies throughout the United States. Studies have shown that companies that said heck no last year are prone to buying this year. As a matter of fact, 45 to 63% of those heck no's turn into yeses 6 to 18 months after they said heck no. If you don't stay in touch with them, if you get upset with them and walk away, then you won't be there to compete when they're ready to buy. And that's a tragedy. Let's make sure that doesn't happen. Another great strategy is to look on the job boards. Now, I'm not encouraging you to get a new job, but what I am saying is that if you offer a product or service that can improve the productivity of a company, you might have an ability to approach the CEO of that company with your product or service as opposed to allowing that CEO to hire another employee. For example, if they're recruiting someone for bookkeeping and you sell bookkeeping software, you may be able to solve the bookkeeping problem without that CEO hiring another human being. You see, when they advertise for someone to come to work for them, they have a problem, and if you have a solution to that problem, that CEO may talk to you, and they have budget. So you can no longer hear the "we can't afford it" because you know they have money. Now, the secret sauce to this strategy is never talk to HR. Always call, do your research to find the owner, president, or CEO, because HR is not set up to take that kind of a conversation. But the absolute best solution, and we have an entire course on this, is called a sales development representative. SDRs are men and women who run your database, interact with LinkedIn on your behalf, set appointments for you, follow up on those appointments. They do that front end of selling, and they do it 8 hours a day, and they do it very effectively because of the specialization and repetition. They don't have that conflict of do I sell or do I prospect. They don't have the administrative task. Their task is to keep the salespeople's calendars full. And that's one of the most effective strategies I've ever come up with in the 43 years that I've worked with over 7,000 business-to-business sales forces. The SDR will separate inquiries into sales qualified leads and marketing qualified leads. Marketing qualified leads get nurtured going into a closed loop marketing campaign. Sales qualified leads are sent right off to the salespeople. So let me close with a couple of suggestions. First and foremost, I hope you're getting my message. Get in touch and stay in touch perpetually. Also recognize that when you prospect, you're interrupting their life. No one's going to wake up tomorrow morning and say, man, I can't wait to get a cold call on the phone today. No one's going to wake up tomorrow morning saying, I can't wait to get some more email from a stranger offering to sell me some product or service. That just isn't going to happen. So you have to give that prospect value for paying attention to you. You have to sell your appointment. You're going to have to use several tactics because we can't predict whether a phone call, an email, a webinar, or any of these other strategies or tactics will work on everybody. That's why I advocate using as many as possible all the time. Make sure that you follow up perpetually and that you procure a list from a list broker that will help you drive your top line. And if feasible, generate some specialist positions to have them work on your behalf to set appointments for you. Now you're looking at a closed loop marketing schematic. Once that prospect is in our orbit, we will touch them perpetually. We're going to maintain top of mind awareness by sending educational value-added messages to them. Don't pitch. Don't ever send an email with a price, but talk about the results that you've produced or the results your other customers or clients have had. When you download our campaign, you'll see that our messages talk about results as a business owner or executive would view them, not about the work that we do to produce those results, because results have value and everything else is just a talking point. I certainly hope that I've given you some ideas that will help you get better results from your prospecting efforts. But as we say out here in Hollywood, good luck and good selling.